A lot of people ask me when it comes to matchmaking, how does this work? How do I make money off of matchmaking? A lot of people, it's so funny. It's a lot of times it's guys who come up and they'll ask me that question, and I find it very fascinating because I think it's a very invasive question, because to me it's pretty simple. I'm providing a service in which I'm recruiting on behalf of someone's romantic life, and so with my hours I spend in my efforts to go and find compatible matches, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of resources, especially if I'm not going on a dating app to find singles. Most men, they'll go on dating apps and not ask a dating app, how they make money. They won't ask a dating app founder how that happens. Uh, and dating apps, they charge supposedly a lower fee, right? A low cost and have subscriptions. But that's the thing, is they want to entice you to remain single and focus on having you have a dopamine hit, so that you become addicted to the ability to somehow match with a person and possibly have a conversation. But usually a lot of your effort is wasted. And unless you're part of like a small percentage of men who, get likes without having to pay for a subscription fee, most men have to pay to engage and find, uh, at least a few people that will match with them. So I think that, and also your data is obviously sold. Your data is being sold to a third party group, no doubt, and that has some value. I can imagine. I'm not sure I've looked it up. Sometimes they say it's between $5 to $30 per person, what your data is worth. I think it should be higher, but as for matchmaking, it's pretty straightforward. I work with somebody for either 6 months or a year long. Some matchmakers have a payment plan. I have a payment plan as well when I do my matchmaking, but some do not, and that's okay. Some people just take an upfront fee, but there's a lot of work that's being done throughout this process, and especially because matchmakers don't have the luxury of having investors backing them. They don't have the ability to have just so much money to spend on marketing, which is essentially the biggest tool and the biggest thing to have is marketing for your business. Matchmakers don't have that. So a lot of the money that they might go and a client might pay for with a package, a lot of that gets used to go and fund the ability to source great matches. When people ask this question of, why, like, how can you make money? Is this a scam? All this stuff. No, it's actually very labor intensive work. It takes a lot of it. It's honestly definitely a major part of your life. And most people spend a lot of energy on dating and on finding their right partner. They don't question spending $50,000 on a watch. They don't question, going and having a 8-course meal for, $600. They don't question that at a Michelin star restaurant. They don't question that. But for some reason, going and finding your future life partner, finding people that out of the blue, who are not part of your community at all, that are just in a metropolitan area, that somehow fit your requirements, what you find physically attractive as well. So for some reason, that's considered, that should be free work. That should not cost anything.